welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trevette.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. College team nicknames. Biosphere. The continent. Let's visit India. Manimal. And I sentence you. Player 1, you start. It's used in abbreviations and initials as well as to end sentences. It's player 1.
Yeah!
Is correct. Player 1, back to you. Burton Braley contradicted himself and wrote, "This is a word you mustn't end a sentence with." Okay, player 1. Yes. Player 1, pick again. Of I did it, did you do it, or do it, it's the imperative sentence. Player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? We're talking about do it. Player 1, pick again. This type of sentence has multiple independent clauses and no dependent clauses. Okay, player 1. Hey, you're right. Player 1, pick again. The name of this punctuation mark comes from a Greek word meaning piece cut off. Here's what we wanted, the comma. Please pick again, player 1. Where the Latter-day Saints believe that Zion or New Jerusalem will be built. Let's hear it, player 1.
Oh.
Nope. Sorry. Any other takers? Here's what we were looking for. North America. You get to pick again, player 1. In a Rudyard Kipling story, one of these animals saves a family from a deadly cobra. It's player 1. Right. We return to you, player 1. A rhesus or a macaque? Player 1. Correct. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Of the 3 animals on Ontario, Canada's coat of arms, the one that fits the category. Here's the response we were looking for. A moose. Player 1. Pick again. The scarlet species of this tropical flyer is known for its brilliant plumage and strong voice. Here's what we were looking for. The macaw. Please pick again, Player 1. Samuel Eliot Morison won a Pulitzer for Admiral of the Ocean Sea, about this man who died in 1506. Okay, Player 1.
Yeah!
Right you are. Select again. That can be typed using a single row of letters on a standard keyboard. Okay, Player 2.
Oh.
No, sorry. Anyone else? It's Player 1. No, that's not right. Anyone else? Okay, Player 3. Yes. Player 3, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? UC Berkeley's teams are known as the Golden These. Let's hear it, Player 1. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Okay, Player 3. You got it. Player 3, back to you. That extends down to about 54 degrees south latitude. Okay, Player 1. That is correct. Where do we begin, Player 1? We're sure you'll just love Ondatra zebethicus, this rodent. Player 1? That's not right. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 2. Right. Great, you're back into it now. Where do we begin, Player 2? Pepperdine's nickname is this, and some lapped not too far away from the campus. Here's what we wanted. The waves. Player 2, choose again. This word describing Penn State's Lions comes from an Algonquian term meaning single mountain. Here's the response we were looking for. Nittany. You again, Player 2. This University of Idaho nickname is from an old Germanic tribe whose name has come to mean troublemakers. Yes, Player 2. Right. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. The University of Texas at Arlington uses this nickname, shared by the NBA team closest to them. It's Player 1. Right. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, with the most countries. Yes, player one? That's correct. Select again. With the first country alphabetically. Here's the correct response. Asia. Player one, you pick again, please. As he is the subject of 1918 and 1939 Pulitzer Prize winners, perhaps the books should be read with bifocals. The correct response is Benjamin Franklin. Player one, pick again. Mockingbird is a portrait of this Southern writer. Let's hear it, player one. Correct. Player one, back to you. Queen of Fashion is subtitled, What She Wore to the Revolution. Yes, player two. You got it. Player two, you start. In a bit of table turning, Poison Pen is an unauthorized bio of this woman who wrote a bio of Nancy Reagan. It's player two. That is correct. Player two, back to you for our next selection. Northern India is the birthplace of this religion started by Siddhartha. It's player two. That's correct. Please pick again, player two. Under the East India Company and then the government, this country ruled most of India until 1947. Here's what we wanted. England. Please pick again, player two. In India, a mahout is a keeper of these animals. Player three?
Yeah.
That is correct. Player three, you start us off. Eden Gardens in Calcutta is the world's largest stadium for this sport, popular in India. Player three? That's correct. Let's have a look at the $1,000 clue. Answer, it's the Daily Double. Player three, you're in last place, but here's an opportunity to... So, what's the clue? He was India's first prime minister. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's what we were looking for. Jawaharlal Nehru. Player three will select first in Double Jeopardy right after this. Clues are worth $400 to $2,000 in these categories. Crescent City rolls. Food words and phrases. American history. Famous Canadians. Science. And art and artists. All right, player three, as promised, you pick first. In 1917 and 1918, Ontario's Billy Bishop claimed 72 aerial victories as an ace in this war. Here's the response we were looking for. World War I. Please pick again, player three. Toronto-born journalist Morley Safer began co-hosting this TV news magazine way back in 1970. We're talking about 60 Minutes. Player 3, pick again. This telegraph inventor's notable portraits included those of the Marquis de Lafayette and William Cullen Bryant. Player 1,
Oh!
that's incorrect. Any other takers? We're talking about Samuel Morse. Player 3, pick again. Picasso painted this work as a protest against the bombing of a town in the Spanish Civil War. We're talking about Guernica. You get to pick again, Player 3. In her 1949 painting Diego and I, Diego Rivera is depicted on her forehead. Here's the correct response. Frida Kahlo. Select again. Helen Frankenthaler's soak and stain technique was inspired by this artist's drip paintings. Here's what we were looking for. Jackson Pollock. Select again. In The Buccaneer, Yul Brynner played this pirate who aided Andrew Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans. Here's what we wanted. Jean Lafitte. Player 3, back to you. In a 1953 comedy, Abbott and Costello try to go to this planet, but end up at Mardi Gras instead. It's Player 2. Correct. Where do we begin, Player 2? Critic Michael Kleinschrott said of this star in The Big Easy, the very worst example of a New Orleans accent. Let's hear it, Player 3. That's right. Way to go. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 3, you make the next selection as we... In this movie, Bette Davis plays a Southern belle who loses Henry Fonda when she wears a red dress to a ball. We're talking about Jezebel. Player 3, you pick again, please. At Jefferson Davis's suggestion, in 1855, Congress bought some of these animals from Egypt for the Southwest. Let's hear it, Player 1.
Yeah!
Good. Player 1, you start. Breakfast dish that can also mean to flatten. Yes, Player 1?
Yeah!
Is correct. You again, Player 1. In 1966, the U.S. government banned M80s and these round red firecrackers. Let's hear it, Player 1.
Yes!
We return to you, player one.
Whoa!
Answer. The first of the two daily doubles. You're in second now, but with an opportunity to catch up a bit. What'll it be? Answer. Used before barrel, it suggests the homespun style and philosophy of rural folk. You are now in first place. Select again. It's the spicy two-word name for a type of knot that lets you join a rope to a rail or a post. Here's the response we were looking for. A clove hitch. Player one, you pick again, please. Let's get Sarah's assistance on this clue.
A nursery rhyme says, this person, mend my shoe. Get it done by 2:30.
Yes, player one?
Whoa!
Please pick again, player one. New Orleans set, The Cincinnati Kid, with him in the title role, is one of the great poker movies of all time. It's player three. Good. Player three, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? It's the weakest of the four basic forces, but it's strong enough to keep the moon orbiting the Earth. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
Okay, let's get back into this. Player one, you make the next. Let's take it over to Jimmy.
A cubic inch of material contains 1,000,000 billion billion of these, each with protons and neutrons in its nucleus.
Let's hear it, player three. No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? It's player one. You got it. Player one, you pick again, please. Answer. The other daily double. And you have the lead. What'll it be? Answer. One of his last paintings before his 1903 death in the South Pacific was a landscape of Brittany in winter. However, you keep your lead. Here's what we were looking for. Paul Gauguin. Please pick again, player one. Changes in the tropospheric layer of this are what give us weather. Player three? You are correct.
Yeah! Woo!
A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player three. Make us a... Franklin Pierce's hope for glory in this war ended when he was thrown from his horse and injured. Here's what we were looking for. The Mexican War. Player three, you pick again, please. And here's Kelly.
The ancient Pueblo peoples who built cliff dwellings such as these are also known as the Anasazi, a word meaning enemy in the language of this largest of U.S. tribes.
Player two. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Any other takers? Here's the response we were looking for. The Navajo. Player 3, you pick again, please. In November of 1903, troops from the USS Nashville were used to stop Colombians from reaching this now capital city. Player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? It's player 3. Yep. Player 3, pick again. Admitted as the 22nd state in 1819, it seceded in 1861 and was readmitted in 1868. Here's what we were looking for. Alabama. You again, player 3. To test deep water structures, wave tanks generate waves, wind, and this water flow, from the Latin for running. Let's hear it, player 2. Nope. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Yes, player 3? Yep. We return to you, player 3. The name of this 8th element is from a Greek word meaning sharp. Okay, player 3. Right you are. We return to you, player 3. Here's Jimmy from our Clue Crew with the clue.
This mariner's 16th century explorations of the Gulf of St. Lawrence laid the basis for French claims to Canada.
We're talking about Jacques Cartier. Select again. Co-discoverer of this pancreatic hormone, Ontario's Frederick Banting won a 1923 Nobel Prize. Here's what we wanted. Insulin. Here's the $2,000 clue. This Nova Scotia man founded a famous line of ships in 1838. Here's the correct response. Samuel Cunard. Sorry, player 2. Looks like you will not be continuing on to Final Jeopardy. We're back. The category for Final Jeopardy today is Italian inventors. Please enter your wager. Our Final Jeopardy clue today is, in 1910, his new invention helped Scotland Yard catch a murderer escaping to North America across the Atlantic. Let's see your response. And that will lose you. Did you come up with the correct response? And that will lose you. The correct response is Guglielmo Marconi. Player
Yeah!
3, congratulations to you. Thanks for playing. We'll see you next time.